Hello everyone, Him Tutorial welcomes you all to the new chapter, that is chapter number 8, the cell. Today the topic which we are going to do, that is introduction of the cell, and under this topic the subtopic which we are going to cover today up to the end of this session, that is we will learn about the discovery of cell and we will learn about the cell theory. So without much delay, let's start with the introduction part first. So the first question to this topic is that what is cell? From the very beginning we have learnt that cell is the structural and functional unit of life, and each and every organism on this earth, living organism, that is made up of cell. Also, if I compare it to the layman's example, then if I compare a building with the body of organism, then in building the brick is the basic structure and functional unit. But in case of organism, the cell is the basic structure and functional unit of life. Also, on the basis of number of cells, the organisms are categorized into two main things or two main categories. First is unicellular organisms and second is multicellular. Unicellulars are those which have one cell in their body, and multicellulars are those which are having more than one cell or number of cells in their body. If I talk about the example of the multicellular organisms, then humans are the best example of the multicellular organisms. So from all these things we conclude that the cells combine to form tissue, tissues combine to form organ, organs combine to form organ system, and organ system combines to form an organism. So what is cell biology? It is that branch of science which deals with the study of cell and its components. So here, by discussing all these things, we came to the fact that cell is the basic structural functional unit of life. Also, the cells are capable of forming new cells in the body, and they are also capable of independent existence. Now we will discuss about that how and when and who discovered the cell. In 1665, Robert Hooke discovered the first cell, and he discovered the cell in the thin slice, or he just examined the thin slice of cork. Cork, we know that it is obtained from the bark of the tree, and when it very thinly sliced that cork, he found the boxes like structure under the crude microscope, and these boxes like structure he named as cell. The word cell is derived from a Latin word which is called as cellula, and cellula means a little room. So each small compartment is like a little room, and each little room is named as cell. So the first cell was discovered by Robert Hooke, and he discovered the cell as a dead cell. After some years, in 1674, and another scientist whose name was Anton von Leeuwenhoek he discovered the living cell, the first living cell. And the first living cell he discovered in blood, in you can say pond water, some bacteria and sperm of human, fish, frog, many animals. So for the first time he discovered the living cell. So if anyone asks you a question that who was the first scientist who discovered the living cell, then your answer will be Anton van Leeuwenhoek. And if someone asks you a question, who discovered the first cell, that is Robert Hooke, and who discovered the dead cell, that is also Robert Hooke. So like this you can answer the questions. After Anton von Leeuwenhoek, there was another scientist in 1831 whose name was Robert Brown, and he discovered the nucleus. Now what is nucleus? Nucleus is considered to be the brain of the cell, As we know that in our body, brain is the main part to coordinate the whole body. So similarly, nucleus is that part which controls the function of whole cell. Okay, so that's why it is very important part, and Robert Brown was the first scientist who discovered the nucleus. After many years, in 1936, two more scientists whose name is J.E. Perkins and von Mohl, they gave the term protoplasm to the living substance which is present in the cell, to the living substance present in the cell. So this is all about the discovery of the cell. Now very briefly we will discuss about the invention of microscope. So the first microscope which was given, that is the simple microscope, and this simple microscope was given by Anton von Leeuwenhoek. In it he uses the brass clamps, and along with the brass clamps the two convex lenses, biconvex lenses he had used. This simple microscope is little bit enhanced or improvised by the another scientist as a compound microscope, and this compound microscope was given by Robert Hooke. Some more improvements are made in this compound microscope, and optical microscope is discovered. This microscope is having with the magnification of 1500 times, and it is the improvement form of the compound microscope. Also it is used in science laboratories very commonly. Another you can say discovery or another improvement in this invention of microscope is done by Ernest Ruska and Max Knoll. They discover the electron microscope. And it is having with the magnification of 40,000 times when it was discovered for the first time, and nowadays still the improvements is going on, and we have such microscopes with us in this electron category which is having with the magnification up to 2 lakh times. So this is all about a brief introduction or brief discussion about the invention of the microscope. Now we will discuss about the second main topic of the day, that is cell theory. All the cells of plants and animals, they exhibit this cell theory. So first of all, this cell theory was given by 3 scientists. First is M.J. Sklidden, second Theodor Schwann, third was Rudolf Virchow. M.J. Sklidden was a German botanist, Theodor Schwann was German zoologist, and Rudolf Virchow was German physiologist. So these 3 grouped together and they gave the cell theory, which is almost you can say followed up by, or which is almost covering each and every cell of plant and animal. Okay. So the theory which was given by these 3 scientists is, first feature is that cell is basic unit of life. Of plants and animals. Okay. Second feature is that cell is basic unit of metabolic activities. The activities which are carried out by the organism throughout its life, those activities takes place inside the cell. Third was cell is unit of heredity. Or you can say the genetic material is present inside the cell, inside the nucleus, and that is carried out from one generation to another. And the fourth thing, which is the most important feature of the cell theory, and this feature was given by the Rudolf Virchow, that is, all living cells arise from pre-existing cells. And Rudolf Virchow gave this line, all living things arise from pre-existing lines, as a phrase that is omnis cellula e cellula. This phrase means that all living cells arise from the pre-existing cells. So this is all about the cell theory. There are some exceptions also, like bacteria, blue-green algae, and some mold fungi. These are the exceptions to this cell theory. Rest of the cells, they all follow this cell theory. So this is all about today's session. So let's recap very quickly that what we have learned today. We have learned that the first cell, that was the dead cell, was given by Robert Hooke, and that was found in the thin slice of the cork. And the first living cell was given by Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Nucleus was discovered by Robert Brown, and the protoplasm is given by J.E. Perkinsey and von Mohl. Also, if we go for the brief history of the microscope, then simple microscope was given by Anton von Leeuwenhoek, compound microscope was given by Robert Hooke, optical microscope was improvised version or the improved version of the compound microscope, and this optical microscope is mainly used in science laboratories for many experiments. And Ernest Ruska and Max Knoll gave rise to the first electron microscope, which was having magnification up to 40,000 times. The cell theory which we are talking about, that was given by three main scientists as M.J. Schleiden, Theodor Schwann, and Rudolf Virchow. What were the features of the cell theory? Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life of plants and animals. Cell is a basic unit of all the metabolic activities which was carried out by an organism throughout its life. Cell is a unit of heredity, meaning it is having genetic material which it passes from one generation to another. And the main postulate, that is, all living cells arise from the pre-existing cells, which was the conversion of the wordings or a phrase of omnis cellula e cellula, which was given by Rudolf Virchow. And there are some exceptions to this cell theory, that is viruses, bacteria, blue-green algae, and mold fungi. These are the exceptions to these cell theory. So this is all about today's session. I hope you understand all the things very well. So up to our next video, keep watching, keep learning, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.